Failing to succeed. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast of The Ordinary Maverick. This is Ajay, your host, an ordinary maverick, sharing real life thoughts and experiences and maverick tips. Thank you for continuing to listen to the podcast and for all the feedback. I love putting these together and sharing with all of you, and knowing that in some way we are all connected. Today's episode is extra special. We have a young guest on the show, another maverick sharing her own perspective on today's topic, failing to succeed. Now, what does that mean? Why would one fail to succeed, right? Well, think about it. Life's biggest failures are often the foundation stones for life's biggest successes. How often we have read stories of failure, real life experiences of things not working out, everything going wrong, and then it all changes. Success comes, it comes in big, giant leaps. It is totally true that the biggest failures and successes are integrally linked. But here's a tip. Failure leads to success only and only if one is ready to acknowledge it, learn from it, understand it. Basically, embrace it and rise above it. That's the trick. Once you acknowledge the failure, it actually stops being a failure. You have now moved onto the path of success. We have heard the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. There are many underlying thoughts here. One, of course, it takes time to build something tangible, no doubt, but also that one learns, and with the constant learning of how to do things, one progresses. That's why a city takes time and effort and reflection. Reflection, such a powerful tool, and even more important when one fails. Reflection is learning, and learning leads to insight, which ultimately leads to success and wins. About 15 years back, I was engaged in a program working with dentists. It was a structured capacity building program where we were supporting workshops with dentists and building capacities in HIV/AIDS and dentistry. From our perspective, it was a much needed and timely program. However, we struggled for funds. Every attempt to raise resources wasn't going through. Dentistry was not the priority at the time for HIV programming. We failed in moving the program forward, and for some time it seemed nothing will work. And then a few of us started brainstorming on what was possible even with no resources. We were passionate, believed in what we were doing, and started diving into why we were failing to raise resources. What can we do? We got some ideas. We went ahead and created a cost-sharing model, something that hadn't quite been done before, and especially not with dentists at the time. We built stronger relationships with dentists themselves, the beneficiaries of the program, and the professional societies and organizations. And then slowly, the support started coming in, and once that happened, it was like a river flowing. The momentum picked up, and suddenly our calendars were fully booked. We were traveling all over the country conducting these workshops in partnership with dental colleges and the Dentist Association. It was a win-win. The adversity we faced pushed us to explore other ways of doing things, and more importantly, learn from what wasn't working and think differently. So much so that we went ahead and published a book on this work titled Oral Health and HIV/AIDS, which has actually become a Bible for the dental fraternity and is part of the dental school libraries. And believe me, the book was launched by His Excellency, the then President of India. What an opportunity that was, meeting the President, and it all came from a program that had failed initially, or shall I say, was considered to have failed. Here is what I mean by reflection. The failure pushed us to review and rethink, and strategize, learn, and come back stronger to succeed. I doubt if everything had gone super smooth from the start, that we would have achieved as much success as we did with this program. But this needs a shift in mindsets. Have you thought about it? How from a young age we are tuned to always work towards success, which we want as we want to win first place. And winning is rewarded. Losing or failing is not. So we get attuned to this idea of always winning and running away from failure. What if we instead celebrated failures with our children and facilitated them to also do the same? How will that help? That may be a question. I feel it's because failures are equally essential for success. If you want to win, you need to fail and embrace the failure fully. Not resent it, but delve into it and fall forward. The question is, why is that? Because a key ingredient for success is resilience. That's the key. The more resilient one is, the more the person is able to get up and get going in the face of adversity or failure, able to learn and grow and more likely to achieve success and keep moving forward, a key component of the Maverick formula. Many companies are now moving to the culture of rewarding failure or at least ensuring there is no penalty for failure. In fact, failure celebration fairs are being set up where teams present their failures and everyone discusses and learns and grows. I have several experiences in facing setbacks, and all of these have together helped me reach where I am. One never realizes at the time. It's later on reflection that it all falls in place. Now today, I'm going to speak to a very special guest, our daughter Niharika. In our family, we have always had a culture of growing and learning. Successes and failures are equally celebrated, although the approach is different with both. The constant is the learning that comes out with the successes and failures, and how then one approaches and works with the learnings and moves forward. So let's speak with Niharika. Niharika, welcome to the show.
Hi everyone. Hi Dad. Thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of your podcast, so this is really exciting for me.
It's such a pleasure to have you join me on this episode of my podcast, The Ordinary Maverick. To kick off things, Niharika, tell us about yourself.
Sure, of course. I'm an electrical engineer from Purdue University, and right now I'm working in Minneapolis as a field sales engineer.
Wow, makes me a proud dad for sure. You know, hearing this, one probably thinks it's all been great and rosy for you, but doesn't quite realize the challenges and failures. Yes, failures that Niharika might have had to go through to become the person she is now. And that's true with most stories. We never know what a person is going through. One must always be kind and grateful, as each one's struggles are unique. So Niharika, tell us your story. You're young, starting off in life. What were some of your failures you've gone through, and how did you deal with it? And what happened as a result? We are very keen to hear everything.
Well, I think like any other person, I've had to experience my fair share of challenges, and I believe that with challenges comes both success and failure. I don't think I experienced a true failure until I was applying to university after finishing high school. See, I was interested in studying engineering in America, but despite having high scores and good references, it just wasn't happening for me, and I was quite frustrated and disappointed. So I decided to change my perspective a little and applied to universities in Australia instead. I was successful in those applications, and that definitely helped build some positivity, but I didn't really want to go to university there, so I took another stab at the universities in America. I learned from my past experiences with submitting applications that got rejected and the ones that had been accepted, and I used this knowledge in my second round of applications, and then it happened. I got into 2 universities, so I picked one and I started college. The program was great, and I made some good friends and settled in. But I think there was still a part of me that wanted to pursue my degree at a school that was ranked in the top 5 schools for electrical engineering. So I started talking to people and expanded my knowledge and my network and made the tough decision to apply for a transfer in my sophomore year. I'm proud to say that I did well and I got accepted into the university of my choice. But the challenges and the failures didn't end there. I was starting from scratch with my classes and GPA, so I had some really tough semesters, but I managed to get my GPA up and even picked up a minor. And then came the challenge of finding a job. Lots of regret letters there, and there were many moments where I felt like I had failed, but I had a great support system around myself, and I was able to keep trying and keep applying, and I was able to secure a job before I graduated. I'm really happy where I am now, and I don't think it would have been possible without all the challenges I've faced, successes I've celebrated, and failures I've had to grow past.
That's quite a story, Niharika, and thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure everyone listening in, like myself, can see the strong link with failure and success, including what Niharika mentioned. Having a great support system is critical, and then talk to people, learn, expand knowledge and network. Further, as I shared earlier, leveraging failure to succeed, embracing failure, and using that to find success. Thank you once again, Niharika, for joining me on this podcast. Wishing you more success, and may you keep the spirit of learning and embracing failure to succeed strong in your life.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Write in your comments, share your feedback. I would love to hear from you. And for some more Maverick tips, do subscribe to the Ordinary Maverick podcast. This is Ajay signing off, wishing you happy holidays and a Merry Christmas. Stay well, stay safe.